Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I am your host, JA, and I am joined by a very happy football fan, much like myself, Richie Garraway. How are you, buddy?
Excellent, mate. Another two great games. Besides the wildcard weekend, what an exceptional year for playoffs.
Is this the best playoffs you've ever watched?
It's always a knee-jerk reaction that you sort of see everybody do that, yeah, it's best ever and all that sort of stuff. But the more I think about it, I cannot remember this many close games.
The wildcard rounds was crap. The only one-score game was the Cowboys-Niners. Remember that? So that was a crap round. But then ever since then, every game has been pretty much outstanding. So I don't know. It's certainly been one of the best I can remember. It's certainly memorable. But this is kind of what I think people don't realize, that this is what the NFL has been going for years, is they want it even. They want anyone to be able to win. They want the Bengals to be the worst in the AFC North and then come back and have a chance to win it the next year. It's what the NFL want. It's how they've designed the sport. It's why there's extra wild cards now. It's about creating competitiveness for as long as possible. And this year it was the longest we ever went before anyone was mathematically removed, all that sort of stuff. It's been one of the most even seasons ever. So it's no shock that it's been this close in the playoffs. I think there's just so many good football teams. So they're going to keep, the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs twice this year. 2 times. One was to win the division and one was to get into a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think that's the craziest thing about it. Like, just, what do we got? 2 wildcard teams. Oh, no, because I think I won the division. But
yeah, they were fourth, though. We'll see.
They were fourth. So it's, I don't think there were many people who would have predicted this.
No, not the Bengals. Certainly not. We had them losing the division, I'm pretty sure. We'll talk Bengals soon. Let's get through the nitty gritty so we get into the game. I want to thank our sponsors, guys. Our Patreon this month brought to you by J&D's Breaks Down Under. Danny White signed miniature helmet. It's an absolute ripper Eclipse. So it's the dark with the logo. It's one of the best helmets I've seen. You've got till midnight tonight to sign up on our Patreon. It's $10 a month. You get a chance to win that. Which is awesome. Thanks to the guys at J&D's Breaks Down Under. I'll do that in a couple. I'll do that. Just so everyone knows, I normally do it on the 2nd because the first here is the 31st in America. So I got to wait. It's American. Patreon's an American website. If you're all wondering why I don't do it on the 1st, because nothing gets no transactions happen until the 2nd in Australia. So that's why. So get in there. Thanks to J&D's Breaks Down Under. Thanks to our friends at Burnley Brewing. Richie, I'm picking up some beers on Thursday, so I have to bring some down to training for you. I dropped off a box not long ago, didn't I?
No, it was a while ago. It was definitely a while ago.
Make sure I bring a box down for you on Thursday. Thanks to our friends at Burnley Brewing. Also, Dark Horse Electrics, one of the best electricians in the game. If you're in Melbourne, you need someone to do some work for you, make sure you hit up Dylan. Also, a big Chiefs fan, so I haven't heard from him today. He might be a bit flat, but knowing him, he'll win the Patreon on Tuesday and everything, on Wednesday, and everything will be fine. So I wouldn't worry, Dylan. And also, ussportsgear.com.au for all your football gear needs, helmets to wear, girdles, gloves, and also some replica college helmets if you're interested in that sort of stuff as well, which I don't know anyone who would be. Looking at my room, I'm certainly not interested in replica helmets of any form. So, but no, thank you to all our sponsors. Very much appreciated. And it's been a long NFL season. We thank you for supporting us, and hopefully you're all back next season to support us again. So only a couple of weeks left. That's the saddest part, Richie. We've only got 2 weeks left for football, and one of them's full with the fucking Pro Bowl. Mac Jones got announced the quarterback for the AFC today. That's how low they're getting in the AFC. They need Mac Jones to come and fill in.
Yeah, it's it ain't great, but hey, yeah.
What's sad? I will still watch it. That is what's sad. It will still be on. Now, will I watch it intently like I watch the playoffs? No, but
it'll be on. It'll be on.
It'll be on. It's football. And
where's it being played? Out of interest,
I think it's back in Hawaii.
Is it back in Hawaii?
Pretty sure. You looking it up? Yeah, I think it's in
Yep.
Hawaii or Florida, one of the two. Hawaii.
Being played at Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas. There you go. So just quietly as well, do you know the Super Bowl's in
That's
LA?
actually
It's 2 years in a row we've got home Super Bowl teams.
home team got the chance to win it. Yeah, I was going to bring that up later.
Yeah.
I think the Pro Bowl being in Las Vegas, I actually think is the right place for it. That's where it should
People are
be
more
every
drunk and
year.
they might enjoy it. And
Yeah,
you can
but also
get
it's a party time. You can party town. You can make a big deal about it. Make the
excuse.
trip.
Let's go to the Pro Bowl for the weekend
Yeah,
and
build it
have a
around a
big
holiday
weekend,
anyway.
have the Bucks party, go to the Pro Bowl. You can sell it to your missus a bit easier, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it definitely works. Definitely adds up. I was going to say, everyone, we're not going to talk Tom Brady yet. Chances are he's probably going to retire, but I'm not doing anything until there's something official. And I don't know if he just wants to announce it himself or he is retiring and he didn't want it to leak and now he's trying to backtrack because he wants to reveal. He's very much into doing his own social media things, so that might be why. Who knows? I think he's going to retire. I'm 90% sure he's going to retire, but we're not talking about it until we know, and we figured it's probably perfect to wait till next week when we know exactly what's going on, or there's a chance he doesn't let anyone know till after the Super Bowl. So let's just wait and see. I'm not going to be those people that start talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. We'll wait till it's done and then we'll go. Are you happy with that, Rich? Your Tampa Bay Bucks QB?
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about our future, but I think he was always going to retire after this season.
JA and Rodgers are in the Bucks eye-line.
Oh, mate, don't even tease me. If we could pull that off, I don't know what we'd have to send back, but
there was Rodgers was talked about, Jimmy Garoppolo. I saw 4.
No, I don't want that.
Also, apparently, again, this is all hearsay. Apparently, Bruce Arians has put a call into Andrew Luck, who, mind you, the Colts still own the rights to. You'd have to get him off the Colts.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, when you retire, your contract stays live, but not for it's almost suspended is probably the better word for it. So the years don't keep ticking away till the contract ends. It is frozen in time.
Mm-hmm. When you
so
come back,
player, I'm sure it used to happen all the time back in the day where teams would just cheat. A player pretend to retire, the contract probably wiped out and they could re-sign them for less and all sorts of weird stuff like that. There's many rules in now around that sort of behavior. So I have no idea what he would have had to go on that deal. But it would be it'd be tough to unlock him, that's for sure.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, you'd probably give up a second round pick and you'd get him, I'm sure. Or, at the Colts with the Carson Wentz situation might be like, no, if he's going to play, he's going to play for us. Simple as that. So they did draft him number 1 overall. So you never know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with there. We'll see what happens with Tom Brady. We'll wait and make a decision on that. Richie, let's get into these games. One of the best games, one of the best weeks of games, the best month of games we've seen. No matter how you sell it, it's been terrific. And it starts with the Bengals defeating the Chiefs 27-24. They were down 21-3 at one point in this game, at halftime in this game. We were messaging each other at halftime, kind of patting ourselves on the back, going, yeah, how right were we? The Bengals, the luck's kind of run out a little bit on them. They're playing, they can't beat 3 good teams in a row. It's always going to be tough to beat the Chiefs, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, we both mentioned they're going, the game's tied. It's 21-all. This is unbelievable. To the point where they got 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and a 2-point conversion to tie it up. And then it kind of turned to our conversation, Richie, turned to like Joe Burrow is the real deal. He's just a winner. It's as simple as that. It kind of doesn't matter what the situation is. He's now in this point very, very early in his career, mind you, in his second year when he missed most of his rookie season. But he's kind of in this era now where when he gets the ball, you're like, he's going to do something with this. Every single time, you just back him in. When he got it in overtime, as soon as the Chiefs failed in overtime, everyone knew he was going to win. Even the Chiefs knew. His O-line's terrible. He's got a great receiving group. I'll give him that. Mixon's a great running back. The defense is full of good, not great players. It's very well built, but it's not outstanding. And you see Mahomes just running around in the pocket all day, like buying time, but couldn't deliver a touchdown. Couldn't get him. I think, I don't know about you, Richie. I think the biggest moment of the game for me was when I knew the Bengals were going to win, was when late in the game with a minute left, they were down by 3 points, the Chiefs first and goal, and the Bengals held them out and made them kick a field goal. I thought they were going to score a touchdown with 30 seconds left and end the game there, but Bengals defense held them out. Trey Hendrickson, he hasn't had an amazing year, but his effort, Hubbard, number 94 for the Bengals, just constant effort, constantly harassing Mahomes, and the D-backs being able to cover for that long. It kind of felt like, this is meant to be here. The Bengals are they're in the box seat, but an amazing football game all around.
Oh, it was crazy. Like, it was proper crazy. It was turn it off. I'll do some work so I can take a sneaky look at the afternoon game. They looked gone for all money, but I mean, I spoke to a former Ranger teammate from many years ago, my boy Stevie Roberts, who's been a long-suffering Cincinnati fan, and I said to him, like, mate, you've got a fucking good one there. This could go for ages. Like, he's just a winner. Look at his.
He's 7-0 in all postseason games, including college.
Yeah,
7-0.
I mean, come on.
What do you want? And it's not spectacular. He's not doing anything amazing. And Jamar Chase is now, has the most receiving yards in a postseason by a rookie ever since Torrey Holt, which is a nice person to overtake just quietly. If you don't know who Torrey Holt is, and I feel like I've said this for years about various different players. If you don't know who this is, look up The Greatest Show on Turf and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Torrey Holt was a part of that. Jamar Chase is a genuine stud. Like, I think Penei Sewell's going to be a superstar still, but you will never, ever, ever badmouth the Bengals for taking Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. It's just going to be one of those ones where you're like, you know what? That they both pick well, I think. I'm more O-line driven, but this was 100% the right decision. Jamar Chase is a genuine superstar. What he's done for Higgins has opened up his game. Boyd, it's opened his game. And then you wrap it all up with a rookie kicker who just can't miss. He's now broken the record for field goals in a postseason. What did we say last week, Rich? The Bengals, they're not going to win kicking field goals. But they do. They just keep winning. Like, they really could have won this. They really could have won this game, 35-20. Like, they could have absolutely blown them out, but they let a few opportunities go. But there's rare times where teams get on runs, and there's a couple of teams over the years that remind the Giants. Obviously, their first run when they beat the undefeated Patriots, it was kind of like one of those things where everyone knew they were really good. They were just on that streak of nothing was going wrong. Everything went their way. No kicks got blocked. Little things like that. And that's where the Bengals are at the moment. I feel like they're in a good spot, and their momentum is all on their way. It's all on their way, like the way they've been playing. So the confidence is around them. Their coach, I had a joke today in overtime. Obviously, Mahomes threw the interception in overtime, but his very first pass in overtime, Eli Apple, who's a recycled cornerback who's been around about 5 different teams after being taken in the first round, has found a bit of a spot.
The Giants originally, wasn't it?
New Orleans Saints, I don't know. He's been on like 5 teams. You might be right. It might have been the Giants originally. He dropped a pick, which was it was inside it was a pick 6. 90% sure he was going to run it in for a touchdown, or if not, he was going to be inside the 10 for a field goal. And he dropped the pick, and they went to the head coach, and he was just laughing. He was just smiling, like, "Oh, damn it!" He's like, "Bummer." Like, you saw his face. He's like, "Oh, that would have been good." Like, he just felt for the guy, and Apple looks at him, and he was like, "Oh man, don't worry. Like, make another play. You're all good." Like, and one of the guys was like, "How is he so?" I was watching it with. It was like, "How is he so happy and calm?" And I'm like, "He's probably not calm." But you know what? No one thought he'd be here. People were probably thinking he was going to get fired by the end of this season, and he's playing in a fucking AFC Championship game in overtime against Patrick Mahomes. At this point, as a coach, you've done everything you physically can for those players. It's up to them. It's up to them to just go and win a football game. You put him in position and you let him go. You can't do anything there. And then 2 plays later, he gets a pick anyway. They get rewarded, and I know that's something. Football is so fun. Like, people. You should like the people who get stressed about it to the point where they're watching games. And I used to be like this when I'd watch the Cowboys. I'd be so stressed about it that afterwards I wouldn't get over it for hours. And it's like, you know what? Just enjoy it. Like, enjoy it like coaches do, like players do. Like, you saw the players after the game devastated that they lost, but they get over it. It's a game at the end of the day, and it's not the end of the world if you lose. Mahomes he's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 4 championship games. It was probably just his turn to not get there this year, and he came across Burrow, and I just think that was the biggest thing I took away from it. Just enjoy it. Like, especially if you're a Bengals fan, just enjoy the Super Bowl. Don't worry about it. If you lose, you lose. Try and not stress about it. Just get in there, enjoy the moment, and if you lose, hey, at least you were there. There's plenty of teams that will take that.
No doubt at all. I mean, I couldn't be happier for the city. I mean, Cincinnati haven't been to a Super Bowl, I think it was since like 88.
Yeah.
I think I saw it was 1988 was the last one they were in.
They lost in the corner. Boomer Esiason.
Boomer Esiason.
Esiason was their quarterback, yeah.
And I know I think they had the heartbreaker. John Elway knocked them out, I think, on one of the early ones he went to too. I'm pretty sure that was the drive. The first one anyway. So I just could not be happy for the city. Any of these cities where they just haven't had much success for a long, long time, I just could not be happier for their fans. And this was a great game. Like, you go into halftime, you're a Cincinnati fan, you're going to watch it to the end because you're a fan. And then you got to experience that comeback where you're like, at what point do we dare to dream?
Yeah.
And then it goes to overtime, and you just said that drop pick, and you might be thinking, "Oh God, that was it. That was our chance. This is Mahomes," and he gives you another go, and it was cool. It was really cool, and that's what football's all about. And I just couldn't be happier for him. It was awesome. Like, and just on the flip side, took the Chiefs 4 AFC Championship games in a row, 4 of them at home.
Yeah.
That there was the one against New England that they really should have won that. That was the false, the offside, defensive offside, I think.
Yep.
Frank kept that one going. Clark, that was it. Kept that going. They obviously won 2 of them, and now they've lost this one. But I don't think 4 AFC Championship games in a row, that would not have been done for some time, because I don't think the Patriots ever did it. I'm pretty sure their best effort was 3 in a row. So it would have to go back to the Bills.
It's a great effort. And I don't understand the hate now for Mahomes. Like,
it's because of his brother.
Oh yeah, that
what a terrible bloke he is.
And do you know what? I do have something. Do you know people out there, right, who hate on that guy or whatever? Do you know I only knew who he was about 3 weeks ago? And do you know why? Because I don't fucking care. Who don't like him, don't fuel him by going and giving him. People like that, they thrive off the hate you give them. And you know what? They get rich off it too. This is the world we live in now. People don't care when content creators, whatever you want to call them, like that. They don't care if you hate them or like them. They care that you watch. They care that you comment. They care that you click on something, because that makes them money. So if you don't like them, I've become a real fan, Richie. If you're scrolling through and you see some content you don't like, I just block it. It's like, I don't like it. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to see it anymore. Because that's how you get rid of people like that. So stop whinging and carrying on, because if you're whinging and carrying on and you know what he's doing, it's because you're watching him, and that's helping him. So just don't block him, delete it from whatever social media you're seeing him on, and it shouldn't bother you anymore. That's how you stop people like that from getting to you, I think, in my opinion. But he's clearly unbearable. He's clearly a bit of a douche, but it's not even on my radar. I don't care. But Mahomes, I don't know. He had a bad overtime. He drove them down to the field. I thought they were going to score at the end of the fourth quarter, and he was pressured. But like, did the Chiefs lose that game, or did the Bengals win it? I think the Bengals won it.
Bengals won it. Yeah, I agree.
I really do believe. You 21 to 3, and you let them come back. So football's a strange game. Like, when momentum flips, it fucking flips on you, and it flips quick. And it is, if you're the team that it's flipped on and you don't have it anymore, it is really, really, really hard to grab back.
It feels like an avalanche, and like you and I experienced a little bit on the weekend, where when it rolls against you, it just keeps going. It is so hard to get it back, and the fact that Cincinnati were able to just wrestle the entire game back, now off the back of a halftime, and I'm sure the coaches didn't just walk and go, hey, let's just keep doing the same thing, blah, blah, blah. But the adjustments and all this thing and all the stuff that would have gone into it, it was an exceptional effort. And as you said, when it was rolling, when it went to overtime, I actually did not think the Chiefs would win, even when they got the ball first. And as usual, everyone's like, oh, they've won the toss. This is over. It's not. And you know what? The more I've thought about it from last week, Jay, I don't care about the overtime rules. I don't give a fuck. Just leave them. But that doesn't worry me. Either team has to make a play. You either got to make a defensive one or an offensive one. And either way, whoever makes it is going to win. It's as simple as that.
Rules are set so hard against the defense, especially late in the game. Look, as I said last week, if they changed it, you wouldn't argue me. You wouldn't get an argument from me. I'd be like, if they go, oh, we're going to college overtime, I'd be like, yeah, cool. Fine. I'm happy. I'm okay with that. But I'm not losing sleep over it. Because you know what? Mahomes got done by it 3 years ago with Tom Brady. He did it to Josh Allen last week. Josh Allen will probably win from it next year. It is what it is. Like, you've just got to, like, how shitty would Josh Allen be now if, you know, they change the rules next year and he didn't get his turn to get the ball first in overtime and win a game? You know what I mean? Like, or they change it to both teams get a chance if they score, and first playoff game next year, he gets the ball first, scores, and the other team get it, score and go for two and beat him. Like, whereas like the game would have been over a year ago. Like, you just got to. I don't care enough. You're right. I don't care if they change it. It's the rule. It is what it is. You can choose to whinge about it. It's probably not going to change, and that's fine. You just have to accept that. If in overtime, if your offense is really good and you win the toss, and it's been a high-scoring game, you're probably going to win. You know, but it's also very easy for a D lineman to deflect a pass, and all of a sudden it's being intercepted and you're losing the game. You know, they're losing. Because that's all it takes. We saw today, one interception, that was over. As soon as he got that interception in overtime and got back to midfield, from that point, you need 15 yards and you're in field goal kicker's range. It's
especially
over.
If it is. If it is, like.
Just a terrific story, McPherson. We don't often talk about rookie kickers, but awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
Big time.
Either way, this was a fantastic game. So if you're a Chiefs fan, don't be up. Like, I know it's heartbreaking. Go to sleep tonight. Wake up tomorrow. You've been to four championship games in a row. You've won a Super Bowl. You've played in two. You've had a pretty good run, and I don't think the run's over anytime soon either.
Well, the key guys are all under contract.
Who are you going to lose this year? Like, your offensive line's all under. Mahomes is, Tyreek Hill is, Travis Kelce is, and we're going to lose McCole Hardman. I can promise you, there's about 15 of them in the draft next year. Wide receivers that can run that Mahomes will make look good.
Yep. These guys are everywhere.
Yeah. So look, congratulations to the Bengals as ever. Also, just on a bit of a different note, Richie, pretty amazing how the world works. So obviously one of our favorite podcasts around the NFL podcast, Chris Wessling, died on the 5th of February last year, just before the Super Bowl. So this is the first season. And everyone knows the big story with Chris Wessling was that he actually was a Bengals fan growing up and just one day decided he'd stop barracking for them because they let him down so many times, and had this whole booklet about how they let him down. He wrote this little book they always joked about. The first full season since he's passed away and his Bengals are in the Super Bowl. It's amazing how the world works sometimes. It is. It really is. I haven't sniffed it for 35 years, and then all of a sudden, the 1 year he's passed and they're in there. So I like to think there's a little bit of it might be the Bengals' year. You know, I have a feeling it might be their year. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the other game and talking about years. The Rams, we talked about before, they get the win 20-17 over the 49ers, division rival. This was a great game of football. They're the first team to ever come back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter of a NFC Championship game. The next closest was the 9 points the Green Bay Packers came back from against Seattle. Sorry, the Seattle Seahawks came back on against Green Bay when the Titans dropped the onside kick. So that was a pretty big deal. But, you know, let's quickly talk 49ers because their season ended. Great run. You know, we thought they were good, Richie, when they made the playoffs. I said they'd beat the Cowboys. I was pretty confident. I didn't get over the Packers, but they have the pieces. They're well coached. They've got a lot of good football players. You know, that we knew they were a good team. They got a good lead here. And this is the problem with the 49ers. It's been a problem with them all year. And I don't know if they can fix it in the offseason. But when Jimmy Garoppolo is under pressure and things aren't working, he has to get to his third, fourth reads. He has to move in the pocket. He has to do anything out of the norm for a quarterback, which is basically take the snap, stand there and deliver the pass. If things go awry, he just doesn't make good decisions. It's simple as that. And before everyone goes, oh, neither does Dak Prescott. You're right. They don't. Some quarterbacks have it. They have it. And you can get it over time. Josh Allen didn't have it, and he certainly does now. Joe Burrow, he has it. He has it in spades, especially right now. Some guys don't. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't. Does that make him a bad player or a bad quarterback? Absolutely not. But it just means when the cards are stacked against you and you've got, game on the line, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Floyd, all rushing you with Jalen Ramsey on the back end waiting for you to throw it. When those cards are stacked against you, it's really challenging. And that's what it was for him today. We talked about it. The worst play he didn't make was the interception on that last drive. The worst play was the one before where he had plenty of time and he shit himself and dumped it down to a guy for a 3rd-yard loss and made the clock keep running.
Yeah.
One of the worst decisions I've seen all year. That's just panic.
Absolutely horrendous. I actually think he'll never pull on a 49ers uniform again. That will just be the mark to Shanahan says, no, this is why I was going to say spent all that draft capital. I'm going to say wasted all that draft capital going up and getting Trey Lance. And that'll be it. And it's going to be, they kind of have to go with him because Garoppolo, I think, has got 1 year left on his deal. So they can deal him and hopefully get maybe a 2nd-round pick for him.
I think they will. I think they could get a 3rd-round pick or maybe a 3rd turn into a 2nd if they play enough.
Yeah, somebody, I would honestly try to get him before the draft so they can get that 2nd-round pick back now. So they can use it in this year's draft because their draft capital is down, obviously, because of everything they gave up to move up 4 spots and they weren't sure who they were going to pick. So, I think they need to get this done sooner rather than later. Now, whilst, yes, everyone will know that you're trying to get rid of him, everyone also knows that he's not going to be a free agent. No. So if you want to secure his services and all I had to give up was a 2nd-round pick, if you're that sold on a quarterback that you think can be the future, well, then give up a 2nd-round pick. I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. You can get your starting quarterback who's going to be your forever guy. Do it. And you're not married to him either. You're just going to date him. You're just going to date him for a year.
I'm going to rattle a few names off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if you'd prefer Jimmy Garoppolo over them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston.
Of course. By fucking miles.
Jalen Hurts.
No, they're the same.
Sam Darnold in Carolina.
I know where he is. I'm thinking. I want Garoppolo.
Tua.
Oh, I want Tua. Yeah, I don't know what he is yet.
Zach Wilson.
Nah, give me Zach.
Carson Wentz.
I think we've found the line.
Baker Mayfield.
Oh shit! Maybe we didn't find the line. I think they're the same. I don't see any point spending draft capital to bring in the same dude. And I'm not saying their skill sets are the same. I'm saying their output is the same.
There's NFL quarterbacks should be ranked by productiveness, not by that should mean
not
nothing.
Wins and
wins and Super Bowls. They should be matched by how productive they are.
Here's the thing, right? So if we're going to compare him to Baker Mayfield, what you're going to say about both of them is the same. If you can play to their strengths, get the pieces that they need to be successful, then they can be really good. The difference, that's what I call like a mid-level quarterback. That's a guy in the middle of the pack.
There's really only 3 tiers for me. There's the guys that can win you Super Bowls on their own. There's the guys that need stuff around them to be good. And there's crap guys. That's really, if you break it down properly, that's really the 3. You could put a quarterback in those 3 categories very comfortably. Because you say, like, Russell Wilson, can he do it all on his own? Well, no, he's shown he hasn't. So, although he's very good, and he's probably better than Jimmy Garoppolo, they're in the same class. They're 100% in the same class because he hasn't carried them to anything on his own. The year they won the Super Bowl, they were one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. There's really 3 categories, and you can rank quarterbacks all you want, but you have to understand there's 10 other players on the field at all times. at all times. There's 10 other guys. And you can't just be like, there's not many dudes that you can just go, all right, you're really good, win the game for us. There's just not many of them. And there's not many that consistently do it for their whole careers either.
No. There's, in any given time in the league, there's 5 who can do it on their own all the time.
Yeah.
I think. Then probably the next 10 can do it at certain points of their career.
Yeah.
So they'll have 3 or 4 years like that. Whatever. Then the next 10 need all the help around them, a solid running game or a solid whatever, and then there's the bottom feeders who are either rookies who, like a Daniel Jones, you just work out relatively quickly. Hey, they're not going to have it. They're just not. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you take them. They can be Winston or they can be Mariota, and they're going to have success here and there and look like an NFL quarterback. But at the end of the day, they're not taking you anywhere.
No.
And then there's guys at the end of their career who bounce around as backups and who are exactly the same. When they're thrust into the action, they look okay for a week or two because nobody was prepping for that guy to come in and be all right, Colt McCoy style.
Yep.
But then when he's a starter for a long time, you realize, hey, it's just Colt McCoy.
Yeah, we can work him out. He's got a weak arm. He can't make this throw. He can't make that throw. All right, let's defend the other ones he can make, and let's force him to make throws he can't. Yeah, you're right. Just quiet on the foot. Just to finish on the 49ers. If you bring Debo back in free agency, you've got a good running back. You've got a top 5 pick at quarterback. You have to see what you've got there. Look, from what we've seen so far, it's not great, but it's not grim. He was honestly, if he plays all 6 or 17 games, he's probably no worse than Trevor Lawrence. And you've also got Shanahan that can do a lot with a lot. So I think if you're a 49ers fan, Nick Bosa too, Fred Warner, you've got Armstead, you've got some great players on your team. There's no reason to think you guys can't compete for the next few years. And if Trey Lance ends up being really good, then there's no reason to think you can't compete for Super Bowls for the next few years.
And if they keep using draft capital to get guys like Debo late in the draft, Kittle late in the draft, you keep pulling that stuff off. And it's kind of like what Pittsburgh could do with receivers for a while. It seemed like whatever one they picked, no matter where they picked them in the draft, they were going to be good. And it's not like they had a superstar throwing to them. They had at the end of their career Ben Roethlisberger throwing to them. So
who retired just quietly? Ben Roethlisberger, he's done now.
Yes, he did. Thank God for that.
Went out in a bigger flash than those pictures.
Boom boom. So yeah, there's it's like a bust of my train of thought now. It's made me laugh. Drafting. So if they keep using what draft picks they will have because they gave up a lot and they can keep finding diamonds in the rough later in the draft, they're going to be okay. There's some really good pieces there. What it's going to come down to is, can Trey Lance do it or not? They're a good enough team to be a wild card right now. Again, probably with Trey Lance. But the real question is, can they be a division winner with Trey Lance? That's the difference.
We'll find out. I think we're going to find out next year. I'm with you. I think Garoppolo that will be his last. I think he'll get traded somewhere. Or you know what? If he doesn't, just keep him on the roster and do it again next year. Run it back next year. It doesn't matter.
You got him for another year. I'm sure he's on a contract for another year.
He hasn't been terrible. He's just not going to win your game. He's not going to beat Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey with the game on the line. Sorry, they're way better. They're way better players than him.
Yeah, is he going to throw the heartbreaking pick?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it comes down to.
Now, this game was pretty good. So the Rams had a come from behind victory. There's a feel-good story for this team as well, and that's Matthew Stafford, if you ask me. A guy who was super productive for the Lions for a very long time. They made a trade in the offseason. We both loved it. A lot of people didn't, Richie. We thought this was a way for them to be a Super Bowl contender. They gave up picks for Jalen Ramsey. They gave up picks for Odell. They signed Odell Beckham. They put all their cards on the table this year, and it's worked. Odell Beckham had a 100-yard game in this game. He's looked better and better every week. He's now going into this game. He's a formidable weapon for them. Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in football. He was very, very good last year, but Matthew Stafford has just taken him over that edge with his ability to throw the ball better than what Jared Goff could. That's just a simple fact. And I don't mind Jared Goff either. He's just better. He is a top 10 quarterback, Matthew Stafford. He's one of those guys that can make throws. He had bad moments in this game, but I don't know. I don't know about you watching this game, Richie. I just always thought the Rams were going to win. I don't know what was making me. Even though they're down 10
Yeah.
points, I'm like, they're coming back here. They're too good.
I think it's because when you stack up skill positions, I feel like they're better, and that's why you probably felt that way. I just want to come back to Stafford for a minute.
Yeah.
It is a really, really cool story. I don't know if towards the end of the game you caught that, they took a shot of the box that his wife and family and things were in. She was obviously beside herself, happy. And for those who don't know, she's actually survived brain cancer from a couple of years ago. A really incredible story. I'm pretty sure they met in college when he was at Georgia. So it's a really cool story. She was ecstatic. Family was ecstatic. I just couldn't be happier for him because I really like, and it also helps vindicate that we get to say, hey, we were right, because we were all over this. We loved it from the moment it happened. And look, I think through the process we've realized some of those flaws he had in Detroit, he actually does have. They live in his game.
100%.
But with so much more,
he'll throw a really bad turnover.
Yeah.
But then he'll hit Cooper Kupp for a 60-yarder when everyone knows he's throwing deep and he just hits it, and you're like, fuck, you do.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that. It's that kind of thing where I just couldn't be happier for him. I was also really happy for McVay sort of slaying the dragon a little bit. He was an assistant to Shanahan for so long. Like, he started as the assistant tight ends coach. Shanahan, like, this is where this guy came from. So it's always been a bit of a big brother. I know they're really close, but I'll bet my bottom dollar they didn't talk this week. Whilst they're super close, when they play each other, they want to kill each other. Like, it's that kind of friendship.
Like LaFleur's the same. They're all the same. They're all from that same window. That you all want to beat each other.
Exactly, and because you get to talk 100%. Shit at the barbecue for all summer, and that's
like
what
the
these
Harbrow
guys
brothers. Remember the Harbrow brothers are playing each other? It's like, this is the ultimate decider of who's the better brother. Yeah. Like, forever, they're gonna be like, I'm the better brother. I beat you in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like, had that Super Bowl go down.
He'll beat
you. Yeah, and turn the lights off, you cheats. So when we had momentum. So yeah, it is a good story for the Rams. Obviously, they're going back to the Super Bowl. I know that roster is not the roster that went last time. There's been a ton of turnover, but there's also a lot of people who were there for both, and I think they would have learned a lot from that game. As you mentioned earlier, it will be a home Super Bowl. I'm shocked. It's never happened before, and then we get two years in a row. Like, where's next?
There's a massive chance there's two winners in a row.
Seriously, we need to look up. Okay, well, I'm betting on Vegas to make the Super Bowl in 2023, because maybe there's a run of this. Although me betting on it will almost certainly end the streak. So
no, it's in Arizona next year.
Yeah, I thought there might have been a year off because the
stadium
wasn't
in Vegas already.
No, I don't think so. It wasn't ready. I'm sure it got pushed a year because it wasn't quite ready, and they flipped them. It's got it the year after.
I was about to say it wasn't last year, but it was in Tampa. Yeah, so next year's Arizona, which is a great stadium too, just quietly. That's just fun fact. It's the only dome in the world that has natural grass, and the reason it does is because their field rolls out during the day from the dome. They can water it, make sure it grows, and then put it back in for the games. Very cool. Very cool.
It's actually not anymore. There's a few of them.
A few of them now? I think that was the first, though, were they?
I don't know. I know there was one in Germany
for a long time.
Definitely NFL. Yeah, 100%. And it's because it's certainly on my list of stadiums to see. Well, it's funny. I've actually been, as you all know, for everyone else, in my last handful of trips, I've been trying to tick off stadiums that I know are getting blown up. So I've actually got to run. I got a ton of former NFL stadiums I've been to that are now imploded in car parks. But just coming full circle back to this, the Rams are going to go in favorite. I think they're a 4-point favorite is the line right now. Yeah. If you believe in Cinderellas and stories and teams like the Giants and all those sorts of things, then you should be smashing that Cincinnati money line right now until it moves. I think it'll come in a little bit in about a week. And then I think at the end, there'll be a lot of money for the Rams because people like to bet on favorites. And you'll probably be able to jump on again and get a pretty good price at the end if if that's your thing. But
it's the ultimate game of
if
like the momentum team versus the team that everyone thought could be there all year. It really is, and it's not a David versus Goliath because the Bengals have
no, not at all.
very good players too. Like they've been a good. The Bengals have been a good team all year. I just think that a lot of us, including us, slept on them for a while. They were good. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten some football teams.
Because they had some bad losses early.
They did.
So when they had some good ones, you're like, well, these are just washing the bad ones out.
Yeah.
And what we probably weren't paying enough attention to was like every week we go, yeah, Burridge, he's really good. But it was almost like a throwaway, he's really good. It's like, no, he's fucking really good.
Yeah.
Like it is I remember when I think you and I must have talked about this like weird off season, probably 2-3 years ago. We were thinking, oh, what are we going to do when Brady and Breeze and Mays, these guys go out? There's no one to step up. Like, there's no one here.
Yeah.
Maybe at the time we were right, but for me, there are 5 elite quarterbacks right now.
Off the top of my head, which we won't. There's more teams that don't need quarterbacks than do now. Way, way, way more that don't need.
There'll be way more who can dead set.
Even you look at the Eagles, right? They're comfortable with Hurts. They are comfortable rolling in with Hurts next year and going, you know what?
They're not drafting one this year.
Let's see what we got. And then you look like the 49ers. Yeah, they might not be comfortable with Garoppolo, but they've just drafted a guy in the top 5 who's
they're not looking for one.
They're not going to look for one. You know, the Giants, they're probably giving Daniel Jones another go because there's no quarterbacks in the draft. Like there's teams, you know, the Packers, if they trade Rodgers, they've got a first-round pick that's going into his 3rd year. They've got to see what they've got. You know, there's not many teams that are desperate for quarterbacks to the point where they're going to be like, let's trade up and draft a guy that no one wants. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think we've ever seen. We are kind of in a golden age of quarterbacks. Like, you know, there's some really good quarterbacks. Like there were some 10 years ago. There were some awful quarterbacks, and I think it's because offenses have, like you said, in college more. There's a lot more
rules have changed too.
Rules have changed to make it easier, and offenses in the NFL aren't as quarterback based anymore. There's a lot more. You know, look at Deebo Samuel is the prime example. We can't get the ball to Deebo Samuel. All right, get him on a jet, get him in the backfield, get him on a reverse, get him on a screen. Like they're just better at doing this. Offensive linemen are more athletic. They can get downfield more for these screens and stuff. It's a different game, which allows quarterbacks to be better for longer. But look, I couldn't be happier. Sorry, Rich, go.
I was just going to say the biggest change in quarterback play as well is whether it's in high school, Pop Warner, middle school through to high school and then on to college, is they just throw it more, way more than they ever used to. And the specialization of sport, like, they talk about Mahomes probably played 5 sports growing up. He would have played baseball, he would have played basketball, and he probably ran track. Like, you did a lot of things. Whereas now, with the specialization, if you're a decent quarterback and you think you can get a scholarship with it, you don't play other sports in the summer and things like that. You go to specialist quarterback trainings and you go to 7-on-7 camps and you throw the football again and again and again and again. And it's the sheer number of reps that they get from early life through to now that they just didn't used to get. I formation, West Coast style, pro back, split back, whatever, under center, you're handing off 70% of the time or dumping it into the flat. So the way the sport has changed, and of course the rules had a lot to do with it, but to take advantage of those rules, you really have to throw it, not so much run it. And that's where their accuracy, precision, arm strength, all those things come, because it's just rep after rep after rep. And that's where we've seen the game change in the last 5 to 10 years.
Also, I find quarterbacks are a lot more athletic now. There's not many quarterbacks that are coming out that can't move. They can all move.
A lot of it comes from the zone read. It's something as simple as that, and I'm oversimplifying it, but something as simple as having the threat that, hey, sometimes you got to pull it and run, and you do enough reps of that at practice, and you'll do drills where there's just a trigger defender, and he's going to trigger, keep it, trigger, hand it off. In a 5-minute period at training 3 times a week, you keep 50% of them. In one season, you're going to keep it and run with it, 200-300 times. You get faster, you get more skillful, you get more explosive. They just get just the crazy amounts of reps now. And I mean, I love it. As we've talked about, I don't want to see quarterbacks be bad. I want to see them all be good. The last 2 weekends have been amazing for football. What an advertisement for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want to see all the time. You never want bad quarterback play. It's a boring game to watch. It's not fun.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Oh, look, it's been a ripper season and a ripper playoffs. It's been awesome. I was happy with any of these 4 teams being in the Super Bowl. I was pretty much happy. I was almost happy with anyone in the playoffs being in the Super Bowl, other than the Eagles and the Steelers, and they were knocked out pretty quick. So, which was never really a threat. There was great teams in it. For the Bengals, I said they got an uphill battle in terms of talent, but their momentum is flying higher than it could ever fly. They are really feeling themselves, and they've got, you would say, most of the nation is rolling for them. And then you got the LA Rams, who there's probably some bitter St. Louis people that probably don't want them to win, but this is their chance to capture that city even more. It's their second Super Bowl under the McVay since they've been in LA. They can capture this city even more and just smash the Chargers further into the ground as a second LA team. There's a lot riding on this. We will do our full preview next week, including some prop bets and all that sort of stuff, Gatorade colors, all the fun stuff, national anthem, all the good ones, and some football previews as well. By all means, watch the Pro Bowl this week if you want. It'll be on for me, but we won't talk about it unless something really bizarre happens. We will probably not talk about the Pro Bowl. Probably make a joke that we're going to talk about it and then not. To our sponsors, our Patreon sponsor, J&D's Breaks Down Under, chance to win the Danny White signed Dallas Cowboys helmet, an awesome one. Also, ussportsgear.com.au, Burnley Brewing, and Dark Horse Electrics. Thanks to all our sponsors for supporting us. Only a couple of weeks left in the season. We cannot wait to round this one out. Richie, as always, thank you for being here, mate, and I'll see you next week for the Super Bowl preview.
Can't wait.